Imagine you're a writer, and you know that in the next scene you need to get across certain information because you know it will be relevant to the narrative later on. You need to find a way to include what you need the audience to know whilst not tearing them out of the believability of the scene. Or you could give up and do what Michael Waldron does in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange inadvertently steps on a plate on the floor, which is lucky because there only seems to be one of them on the path. But it's required that he does this for character reasons, so it's fine, right? The memory store existing in the first place is one thing, but seeing as they're on the one street it exists on is even worse. What if they had gone another way to the sanctum? Then we wouldn't know what we needed to. But what's worse, it's exactly the memory we need to understand Doctor Strange's motivations. Any memory could pop up here, but it's the one we have some precedent for from the start of the film, which makes the store seem like it has some idea of what narrative focus is. It might be that Doctor Strange had this sort of thing on his mind, and that's why the memory store presented this one. But surely it could have been any Christine memory. It could just have easily have been a memory from today, especially seeing as that would have been in his short-term memory, and so would be occupying more of his brain. But maybe thinking rationally about a film that has a memory store in it is thinking too deeply. The writers could include these events in a more natural way by opening the film with them, giving the audience a framework for who these characters are without the basis for its inclusion being stupid. Loads of films begin with scenes that set out a character's defining motivation, and it's often done in a natural way. It doesn't require any engagement from the audience if everything is spelled out to us in the clunkiest way possible. Even if the dinner scene is explicit in what it's getting across, the show don't tell of the scene is negated by it being told to us in the form of a memory store. We can remove this redundancy by having the scene be a standard flashback or by having it be woven into the dialogue as they walk, rather than it being crowbarred in between the plot. America then decides to roll the dice on what memory she reveals, and wouldn't you know, it's a really traumatic one that directly correlates with her character arc. I'm not going to talk about the ethics of having this memory in particular be projected in public, and it's a boring argument to say that it's okay because it's in another universe, a universe that by all meaningful standards operates very similarly to that of the MCU. What's the point of trying to craft a compelling, justified reason to incorporate what the characters are motivated by when you can just have them stand on a mechanism that shows us exactly what we need to know? We are one step away from having the writer popping up on screen and telling us what everyone's motivations are. All you need to do is look at a better show to see how it's meant to be done. Arcane is one of those shows. We first meet Jace coming back to his apartment after collecting things for his hex tech experiments. But as he arrives at the door, we realise that this is where Vi, Powder, Clag and Milo broke into last episode. When trying to get into the room, he is knocked back by an explosion, which in turn renders him unconscious. We then transition into a flashback that outlines where his belief in magic originates from. This flashback is built into the scene rather than it being stumbled across serendipitously. We can believe that when he's knocked out, he is thinking about the thing that occupies his mind most of the time, and that which he is pursuing at that moment. There is no button on the floor for the audience to find out about his past. It's simple, but it's what should be done.